Well, the Owens Valley Club, Sierra Club, and the Big Pine Paiute tribe of the Owens Valley, they've partnered together to challenge the negative declaration for the Big Pine Northeast Regreening Project. It was certified by the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power March 6, 2012. Now, the three groups issued this press release that they have filed suit in Inyo County Superior Court to overturn the decision to approve the project and to order LADWP to prepare an environmental impact report. The groups contend that operating a groundwater pump to replace surface water supplied to the project may have significant impacts on the environment, and that under state law, LADWP is required to prepare an EIR to properly disclose and evaluate those potential impacts. The Big Pine Regreening Project is a mitigation measure for impacts in the Big Pine area caused by previous water management practices and groundwater pumping activities by LADWP as identified in its 1991 EIR Water from the Owens Valley to supply the second Los Angeles Aqueduct 1970 to 1990 and 1990 onward, pursuant to a long-term groundwater management plan. Now, a revised description for the project was agreed upon by LADWP and Inyo County in 2010. The project provides for 30 acres of land northeast of Big Pine to be irrigated and seeded with a pasture mix to support livestock grazing. The Big Pine Canal will provide up to 150 acre-feet of water per year for the regreening project. Now, the 2010 revised project description states that the irrigation is contingent on LADWP being allowed to pump well W375 to replace, export an amount of groundwater equivalent to that supplied to the project each year from the Big Pine Canal. Well W375 is located approximately 3 miles southeast of the Big Pine Northeast Regreening Project and has been in off status in accordance with the on-off provisions of the Inyo LA Water Agreement. And that's been for more than a decade due to insufficient soil water, deep water table, and poor vegetation conditions. Now, the project is contingent on LA and Inyo exempting well W375 from the on-off provisions of the water agreement. It is that exemption that is the cause of concern for the three parties bringing the lawsuit, again, according to that press release. Now, said Big Pine Tribal Chairman Virgil Moose, quote, "Over the past century, LADWP has aggressively pursued the destruction of our homeland for its benefit. The tribe wants to see a benefit out of mitigation projects, not more negative impacts on our lands," end quote. Now, the groups charge that LADWP's action in adopting the negative declaration constitutes a violation of the California Environmental Quality Act because LADWP failed to prepare an environmental impact report. An EIR is required because evidence presented by the public indicates that the Big Pine Northeast Regreening Project may have a significant impact on the environment, said Mark Bagley, spokesperson for the Owens Valley Committee and Sierra Club. DWP has an obligation to comply with the mitigation measures provided in the 1991 EIR. To the extent that DWP seeks to replace the surface water with groundwater pumping, it makes little sense as the mitigation measure seeks to mitigate for DWP's groundwater pumping program. If the mitigation measure includes increased groundwater pumping, then such additional groundwater pumping must be fully and completely analyzed, end quote. Well, attorneys for DWP and Mammoth Community Water District will square off Thursday in Mammoth Court, and this is over a change of venue hearing. LADWP wants its two cases that challenge Mammoth's water rights to be heard in Fresno County, not Mono County. Now, in two different cases, LA claims Mammoth has no rights to Mammoth Water Creek water. Water District Manager Greg Norby has gone public to ask local leaders and citizens to show up at Thursday's hearing, 9:30 a.m. at the new Mammoth Courthouse. Mono County Superior Judge Stan Eller is scheduled to hear the change of venue motion. Well, it has been a long battle between LADWP and the Eastern Sierra, and those two stories kind of continue to prove that. And the Matlick family has been right there for it. Stan and Roberta Matlick of Bishop quietly and consistently gave of their service, money, and moral support to Bishop and the Eastern Sierra over the years. Monday night, the Bishop City Council honored them. Bennett Kessler filed this report. Now, Roberta Matlick had died in January, so Stan and daughter Margaret attended the Bishop City Council meeting. Councilwoman Susan Cullen read a statement about the Matlicks and why the council chose them for the quarterly Citizen Award. Cullen listed the many community activities of Roberta: Laws Museum, Good Old Days, teaching and touching the lives of countless students, service with the Community Concert Association, and the Inyo Mono Area Agency on Aging. Councilman Jeff Griffiths said he will miss Roberta Matlick the most at the community Christmas dinners where she used to play and sing Christmas carols. Cullen spoke of Stan Matlick's years of service with the Laws Museum Board, Bishop Homecoming, and Labor Day Association, the VFW, the Lions Club, and the Sewer District. Cullen said, quote, "He has been a strong supporter of the Bishop Friendship Center and Methodist Soup Kitchen," end quote. She added that Matlick fought to prevent new DWP wells on the Bishop Cone to preserve the environment. In fact, it was Stan's father and family back in the 1930s who went to court and won the Hillside Decree, an historic court order that prevents the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power from pumping water for export in a wide area in and around Bishop and nearly down to Big Pine. The DWP tried to defeat that order in the 1980s, but Stan Matlick fought back. He personally stood up to Los Angeles and funded the legal battle to protect Bishop. It is the only area of the Owens Valley with these protections. Now, even when it wasn't popular, Stan Matlick stood up at scores of meetings over the years on behalf of the Owens Valley environment. His prophetic quote years ago haunts Inyo County today. When citizens fought against the Inyo DWP long-term water agreement, Matlick said, quote, "You will find this agreement isn't worth the paper it's written on," end quote. Now, there were many others this week in the area who privately commented on how the Matlicks had supported them in time of need, changing the course of their lives for the better. We'll be back with more news.